Hey everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to my office. Welcome to Office Hours with me, Matt Groves. Glad you're all here. I see Kevin Griffin is already lurking for the weekend. So sorry about Tuesday. Actually had a power outage here at my house on Tuesday, which cut into my streaming time. So that's why I didn't have an episode on Tuesday. But I'm glad you're all here, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm definitely not muted. I think we're good there. So we're talking today about some MVP unboxing. Power outage in quotes. How dare you, Kevin Griffin? This was a real power outage, which is actually around here. I really need to get myself a backup generator or something because I have well water, and so once the power goes out, the only water I have with any water pressure in my house is basically in the like a one water pressure tank. So once that runs out, I have no more running water. So I need to figure out something with a backup generator. I keep saying that, and every time this happens, I'm like, I'm gonna get a generator before next time, but I still haven't. So it wasn't a big deal because it was on within a few hours. But if the power's out for a day or something, which has happened before to me, not at this house, but other houses, the water is a real problem. Not to mention air conditioning this time of year. Actually, the last time power went out for us, there was like a lightning strike in my house while we were away. And when we got back, the air conditioner was fried and the power was out. Now that we got the power fixed, but the air conditioner was done for. And we worked through insurance and things, getting a new air conditioner, but it took like a week. And this was the middle of July. It was just not good. Very unpleasant week. And I mean, we were maybe an hour away from just saying, forget it, let's go to book a hotel room. Because that's how unbearable it was, the heat that week. All right, so here we are. MVP unboxing. So I'm going to start off with today. That should be a little bit of fun, although I think I don't have my box cutter, so I may have to find that or something sharp. And then I have some YouTube questions that came in on Visual Studio theming, so I want to address those today. And any of your questions, of course. I've got more stuff planned, but I can't fit it all in the title. So hopefully we'll get to that. But any of your questions, feel free to drop them in the channel there, and we will discuss those. And because this is a question-friendly channel, the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. So ask away, anything at all. I also got to not get too silly, but ask questions. Don't be afraid. This is a question-friendly new developer. I don't want to say newbie because that's got negative connotations, right? But it is a beginner-friendly channel. How's that? Okay. I'm a member of Team Live Coders. I gotta tell you, I missed one day and I feel a little rusty already with the live streaming. Because it's not just been 2 days, it's been a week since my last live stream. But anyway, I'm a member of Team Live Coders. And if you go to Twitch/team/live coders, a lot of people streaming right now. Thursday afternoon seems to be a pretty busy part of the week for live streamers. But we got C Sharp Fritz going live right now, who's actually higher than Lana Lux. Wow, that's interesting milestone there. Oh, maybe he's doing the 12-hour thing. Maybe that's what's going on. I remember him talking about the 12-hour marathon stream. So that maybe we'll have to go check in on him. I'll do a raid. But if you're looking for live coders to follow, go check it out here. Twitch/team/live coders. He's been going for a while. Yeah, I think that's probably the 12-hour thing that he's doing. And if you want to look for other streamers, you can always check out GitHub/BNB/Awesome Developer Streaming. Awesome Developer Streams. And this is a curated list of developers who stream. But it's not like limited to Twitch, not limited to a specific team. It's just any developer who is streaming on a regular basis. They can submit a pull request and get added to this list here. And you can come in here and just do Control F in your browser and search for terms that interest you, follow those people, and watch them do some awesome coding. Easy as that. And you can find previous videos of mine here, previous live streams recorded. They get pushed over to YouTube, And that's bit.ly/GrovesTube. You can go find those there. This is episode 91, or 92, so you can find 91 on there right now, and all the previous episodes and clips and things, highlights, they're all on there. And if you're on YouTube, hello, thank you for watching. I'm going to answer a YouTube comment question here real soon. So that should tell you that, hey, I checked those comments too. So make sure to like and subscribe and follow and all that good stuff. And if you have questions, it's okay. You're on YouTube, totally fine. You don't want to join live, but if you have questions, leave them in the comments and I'll get to them. It may be a few days or a week if there's a power outage, but I'll get to them. Events coming up, Codepalooza, August. Getting ready for this one. This is going to be great. Codepalooza.com, August 19th through the 21st. I'll be presenting this topic here, developing and deploying your first ASP.NET Core microservice to Kubernetes. So should be interesting stuff. I've done a lot of this on the stream before, so I'm going to be drawing on a lot of that material, and some of you all have helped me along the way. Obviously, I don't think I can fit everything there is to know about ASP.NET Core, microservices, deployment, and development to Kubernetes into 1 hour session or 45 minutes or whatever it is we have. But I think there'll be enough there to help you get started. One Kev Griff says he'll be there too. Awesome. Cool. Check out Kev Griff's session as well. Taylor and Code's looking forward to that one. Or looking for that one. I think he meant looking forward to that one. Yes, I am too. I am looking forward to this. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a challenge to try to get all the material that I want into a session, I think. So that's the challenge for me. Just focus on the important bits, I think. And Connect Online, Couchbase Connect Online. So if you are interested in presenting to a Couchbase audience, an audience of Couchbase developers, Couchbase employees, Couchbase ecosystem partners, people who are using Couchbase, this is the CFP I want you to go submit to. Or if you have something interesting to say about NoSQL in general, I want you to submit to this as well. So the CFP is open now. Kevin Griff will not be there. You don't know that. You haven't. The CFP is still open, man. It closes on August 21st. You got time. You got time to come up with something. The event is October 14th through 15th. And I say event, and I think this is going to kind of be a hybrid event. It's going to be a combination of some live streams, and it will be some pre-recorded sessions as well, which is kind of one of the trends you're seeing today with virtual events, is to have some pre-recorded stuff that you can just view at your leisure. Oh, NoSQL at all? Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a Couchbase event, so we're gonna lean towards Couchbase material. But if you have something to say about NoSQL modeling, for instance, or NoSQL use cases, I think you should go ahead and submit. I think it'll be, I think it's something that I want to see in that list of sessions. So, yeah, why I love MongoDB, that's probably not going to make it. You can certainly submit it, but probably not going to be accepted. I'm just going to go on a limb and say that. But if it was something like, when should I use Couchbase versus MongoDB, that would be a very interesting session. I think a lot of people would want to see that. Or, data modeling, something that comes up a lot. And use cases is a huge thing. I get asked all the time, like, which use cases are best for a NoSQL? Or even better, hey, I built this piece of software for this use case, and I use NoSQL, and here's why, and here's how. Really great content people want to see. And obviously, you can work on a better title than that. It's a very long title. But content like that, I think, would be very appropriate for this conference. So anyway, I hope that you take some time to submit. I know I've had some people here on the stream, some regulars who are using Couchbase or who are experimenting with Couchbase, and I've reached out to some of them already. But I just want to verify, promote it here again, that Couchbase Connect's coming up. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be presenting some stuff there as well. I'm not sure what it is just yet. Okay, Jackbox. So on Tuesday I said not on Tuesday, but last Thursday I said rain check on the Jackbox because I had a special guest. I had J.R. Lawhorn on. But this is back on. So if you have the Buckazoids and you can afford it, I will drop everything and fire up a game of trivia or a quick game of Jackbox here on the stream, and that's a reward you can cash in your loyalty Buckazoids for. Just your channel points down there over here on the chat. Okay, and so that was what was last Thursday. Was J.R. Lawhorn as a guest. That was good stuff. I had some sort of breakdown when I was trying to get it to work locally. It was, again, this is always the case, right? But it was working fine, and I tested it out and I practiced a few things, and it was working fine. Once the stream started, things started to break. We had to switch over to JR, who had it working already, and so he kind of took the baton from there. But I think it went really well. So if you're into Laravel, you're into Couchbase, you're into PHP, definitely want to check out the stream. This was it was the last one. This was 91, I guess. So it's on YouTube now. You definitely want to check that one out. Today, we're going to get into award unboxing. I have a question that came in about Visual Studio theming, which is something I've wanted to explore, actually. I'll move this around a little bit here. Explore myself for a little while. I'm kind of a default theme kind of guy, default dark theme. But there's some things I want to explore with theming, and just play with it, and maybe even get into Windows Terminal as well. Some cool things you can do with theming there. I've got a forum question that I've started working on today. I'm going to, if I have time, work on it in the stream here. This shouldn't take too long. It's around logging and the .NET, so I'm going to get into that. And if I have time, I wanted to start exploring creating an automated backup of my database, and specifically the database that is being used by this Twitch chatbot right now. Every message that goes in the chat gets stored into the database, and I don't have any sort of backup in place right now that will back up that data. Well, there may be something already with Azure, like doing an automatic VM backup, but it might be every 7 days or something. I'm not sure exactly how that works. So since I don't know, I need to find out, and if it's not sufficient, I'm going to have to create some sort of backup process. So I've got some ideas for that. It's not really my forte, but I need to get that working because I don't have anyone else to do it for me. I don't have my own ops team to do backup of my Azure database. So I've got to figure that stuff out. And of course, as always, answering your questions. In the future, I'm going to work on this microservices session for Codepalooza. That actually might not happen on the stream. I've got a vacation, maybe a vacation I'm going on, hopefully. So I've got to get that stuff done before a certain point on the calendar, and I don't know if I can hold up and wait to do that on the stream. Azure Function Integration with Slackbot. So I've kind of already done this, actually, so I just did it off the stream, so I'm not going to, unless someone wants to really see that, I'm not going to do that. Clash of Code is something that I'm definitely willing to keep doing in the future. Chatbot features, sure, and the C# Advent website. I got to get into that here soon. Had one major setback right now with that, with my partner in crime on this one, Calvin. Not a big deal, but something I need to get to sooner or later if I want to get that ready in time for December. Well, actually, more like in time for early November or late October. People will start signing up. Guy from Mars, what's going on? Good to see you. And you got my name right this time. 2 T's. Appreciate that. Glad you're here. So let's get into a little bit of unboxing, shall we? So I've got over here this box from, Matthew the Couchbase Guy. That's me. I've got this box here from Microsoft, and you can see the rough dimensions of it. I've covered up all sensitive material with Couchbase stickers. You know what? Since I did this last time, I'm going to make my window a little bigger. There we go. Okay. And I'll show a little Visual Studio in the background. You still haven't opened your 2019 MVP box? Are you serious, Kevin Griffin? It's just sitting around, not being opened? Did you have a 2020 box also sitting around? Why is my light on, by the way? My face is real dark. That's better. Okay, so I'm going to try to crack this open. I don't have... Last time I had one, but I think I put it away. A box cutter. Let's see what I have in here. I've got an old key. I'm not sure what it opens. I'll try that. I've got this kind of looks like a key, but it's actually a USB drive from Star Trek, which I thought was pretty cool. So you've got 2 boxes sitting around just collecting dust. Really should be ashamed of yourself, Kevin. I got a bag of googly eyes. My hands are, if I get too close to the light, they turn invisible. Well, I think that key will probably work. It's not like it's I just have to cut open a piece of tape. on the box. So I've got this old key. I don't know what it goes to, so it might not go to anything. So it's okay if I show it on the screen here. I don't think it is a key that I've actually ever used. So here we go. Put this box here. Okay, just on that one side. And on the other side. You know, this is riveting stuff, like watching someone open a box, but YouTube videos, those unboxing videos, they're crazy. People love them. So I figured, why not? I'll do a unboxing video of something that's actually very cool, that I'm very honored to receive, unlike Kevin Griffin, who just throws his in a heap somewhere. Is it an Xbox? No. This is the size of it. This is from the Microsoft MVP program. So I've got the tape cut open there. So open up the box, and inside you can see 2020 MVP. Hey, Mohammed Aziz, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Doing a quick unboxing here. The box on the shelf just not opened. Yeah, whatever, Kevin. It's just in a big heap over there with all your awards and all the swag you've won over the years. You just throw it in a big pile. All right, so this is a pretty cool box. Let me just make sure there's nothing sensitive on it. One of the things about MVP program is you're allowed to say you're an MVP. And, you know, they want you to talk about and use Microsoft stuff. But there is some stuff that is sensitive, and they're very sensitive about that. Obvious reasons, because they don't want it to get out in the public. So we all have to sign NDAs. And I hope I'm not violating the NDA by saying that. But I want to make sure there's nothing sensitive in here before I show it to the world. But it looks like it's just my name and my MVP number on it, on the top, which is completely public. Who cares? It is a very nice box. A little shiny. This is not quite raised, but it's a nice little shiny, glossy cutout kind of thing. The colorful Microsoft logo there. On the side, you can also see this little Microsoft, or the MVP emblem right there. Also in the kind of shiny cutout on that side too. All right, so let's open it up. Sort of fold it open there. Okay, and so look at that. It says thank you. First thing, very nice. Very polite. You're welcome, box. You're welcome. All right, so it's just slide tray outs to access award materials. So I will put a finger in here and slide this tray out. Okay. So now I'm left with empty box saying thank you. I don't keep the boxes, by the way. I keep the stuff in them. I usually get rid of the boxes. I don't think I have any boxes left. But all right. Hey, TBD Gamer. Yeah, it's more swag. This time from Microsoft. This is the Microsoft MVP program. And so I'm checking out my certificate here. Just make sure there's nothing sensitive on it, but it's Microsoft MVP certificate signed by Satya Nadella. Not really signed by him, but looks like his signature there. And let's see, you can see the date on there, July 1st, 2020. Maybe you can't see the date, I don't know. If we get too close, then the light just destroys it. Personally signed, yes, he signs all, 2,000 MVP awards? I'm sure. We recognize and value your exceptional contributions and commitment to technical communities worldwide. By sharing your real-world experience and technical skills, you demonstrate outstanding technical community leadership. Thank you. How many times is the word technical in there? 3 technicals. Wow. So anyway, this is going to go in the pile on my shelf. The other thing they send me, I feel bad because I never use these all up, but they send me a whole sheet of MVP stickers in different sizes. It's technically a lot of technical, yeah. But I usually put one of these on a laptop if I haven't have one already. I guess you're also a Microsoft guy. In quotes, I mean, yeah, I don't exclusively use Microsoft stuff, but I do a lot of Microsoft development, .NET, C#, Visual Studio, and so on. I'm one of the, I guess at Couchbase, I'm one of the few who is into Microsoft. I think I could probably list all of them and count all of them on one hand that are Microsoft people who use Windows, who and or can write .NET or C Sharp. Everyone else pretty much is Mac and Linux around here, for better or for worse. And you notice I have Visual Studio running in the background here, so yes, Microsoft. Okay, so one of these stickers is going to go on my laptop. I think I already have one on there, but I'll put another one on there. That's fine. All right, what else we got? Okay, inside this box, let me just make sure there's nothing sensitive about this. I don't think so. It's just a congratulations message on the box, and you can see here there's 3 pieces of swag. We've got this right here. We'll show in a second. Got this card over here. I think it's totally fine. And this little pin, which I like a lot. This little lapel pin. So I'll bring out the card first, or the name badge. And this is, I don't know why they print these, why they make these. Because there is an event, it used to be an in-person event, and it hopefully will be again, called the MVP Summit, where all the MVPs are invited, and Microsoft, pays a lot of the expenses, and we can go out there. And I figured this was for that event. I had to show this card to somebody and prove that I was an MVP. But yes, Kevin Griffin is absolutely right. No one asked for this card. No one cares. It doesn't do anything. I keep it in my wallet anyway, because why not? It's a cool looking card. It's got a little hologram on it right there. And it's got my MVP number, which you can't see because my lights probably. Yeah. MVP number, which is totally public. You can find that if you go to the MVP website. Hey, NJ Groves, what's going on? Discount card to get 4% off Microsoft Gift Store items. No, sorry, NJ Groves. Even when I'm at the summit, we don't get a discount, do we? For Microsoft Store, I think we may be able to get some amount of Microsoft employee level pricing while we're there. I've heard tales in the past of they used to give out some Microsoft Store credits actually, but obviously as the MVP program grew and grew, that becomes very, very expensive. So I don't think, I think I actually saw Kev Griffin. One of the last times I saw Kev Griffin in person was at the MVP Summit in the Microsoft Store, the employee store, company store is what they call it, right? I think we were both there shopping. So anyway, that's going to go in my wallet. I'll take the old one out and just keep it in my stack. Next up is this lapel pin. So how do I get this lapel pin off of here? Lift and slide off to remove. Got to get the cheap Xbox Live. Yeah, I don't have an Xbox. Well, I have an Xbox 360, but I don't use it anymore. Oh, okay, there we go. I lift it off. It's not really a pin. It's a magnet here, so you can hear the magnet. There it is. So NJ Grow is actually in the same time zone as me now for a change. Used for shot glasses and decorative spoons. I think they do have Microsoft branded shot glasses there at the company store. But what I do at the company store is I'll try to buy some stuff for my kids. Like I bought my daughter this cute little I forget what it was, like pink geek shirt or something like that. Geek girl, something along those lines. I got my son, this is a while ago, some sort of Minecraft plushie thing. So anyway, I got this little pin. That's going to go in the pile too. I don't really have a place for this. I have that, as I mentioned before, with the Live Coders box. They sent me a GitHub pin, which I can put on a hat, which I still can't find. But this magnet one won't work on the hat because it'll just come right off while I'm doing yard work. So that's no good. Okay, and the last and the most important thing is the award disc. So hold on one second. I'll be right. I got something right over there at the table. I'll be right back. Okay, so when you get your very first MVP award, what you get is this guy right here. This is very heavy glass, trophy display thing, which definitely needs some cleaning. My gosh, that's all dusty. The glass sort of trophy. I don't know if we call it trophy or whatever. But you get one of those, and then every year you get renewed. You get a little disc that goes on there. So You can see my first one was 2014. I got a 5-year puck right here. And then right around here, they changed the structure of when they give out the awards to be like, instead of annual, they give them out every quarter, something like that. So mine was July, so it became 2017, 2018, and so on and so on. So that's my award so far. So how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 years MVP. Good gravy. I've been an MVP for 7 years. Where does the time go? All right, so now I got to peel this guy here, this award disc. Peel that right off and pop that out. There it goes. So this one is, as you can see, as you expect, 2020 to 2021, which honestly, this should probably have been black color or something, just to kind of show in the sort of geological stratus of things. Oh, these are all pretty good years, and then, oh, not so much. And then the rest of them can go on and be clear. Anyway, there we go. Thank you very much, Microsoft, for the MVP award. I really appreciate that. Special thanks out to, well, I guess James Bender, probably the first. I think he was the one to nominate me originally. So yes, James Bender has done some really good things for others in his life, believe it or not. And thanks to Betsy Weber, who is my MVP program director, I think. So thank you, Betsy, for that. And thank you, Microsoft, for this really cool award. I mean, one thing I'm not showing you, which I've mentioned before, is the other thing that you get as an MVP is not just the cool trophy and the award and the recognition, which are all very nice. But I get licenses for software like Visual Studio, I'm showing you right here. And Azure, I get some free Azure credit. So I'm more than happy to show off Azure for Microsoft because I've got some free money that Microsoft has given me as a thanks. There's no expectations attached to this, by the way. This is not a certification program or anything like that. This is just an award program. It's a way of saying thank you. Yeah, I'm totally joking there, Chad Green. James Bender's a great guy, but just want to get a little jab in at him there. Yeah, so there's some great perks and great benefits to it. The MVP Summit, of course, is a really terrific event. At least, I've only been to 2, I think, in person, and then the one this year that was not in person. So it's unfortunate, and I don't think the next year is scheduled to be in person yet. It's still going to be online. That's a really great part of it as well, is getting to hang out with fellow MVPs like Kevin Griffin, and check out, interact with Microsoft people right there on site. Have you worked on Xbox or creating games? I'm not really much of a game developer. I've written games before, like just for fun, but I'm not professionally. No, I did actually knew a guy who was an Xbox MVP, because each MVP has a different category, and mine is, well, it started out being C#, and then it changed to like Visual Studio, and now I think it's called Developer Technologies, something like that. But I had a friend, and I don't think he's this anymore. I don't even have this anymore, but an Xbox MVP. I don't think because he built games, but he did a lot of other things. Hey, he might have. I don't know. He was a gaming journalist for sure. He would write about games and review them and stuff. And he actually got an MVP in Xbox. And there's tons of different MVP categories. So, you often hear from the developer technologies, but there's also MVPs for like Office 365 and SharePoint, which I think is part of Office 365, and all the different Azure tools and technologies, and even stuff like Excel. You can just be like an Excel MVP, I think. Or, what's the other one I'm thinking of? You know what? I could just bring up the MVP site here. Maybe I should bring it up incognito mode. Microsoft.com. There we go. PowerPoint. Yeah, PowerPoint MVPs. That's a category. So we can maybe find an MVP and look at all the different categories here. So, okay, there's not as many as I like. There's actually a list that you could drill down in each one of these, right? So Azure, Enterprise Mobility, Data Platform, which I feel like I probably belong more in that platform. But I don't know. It's tough. I'm sort of straddling these platforms here. Yes, well, I said Azure, Office apps, Windows development, Windows and devices for IT. So that's one of the cool things about the summit as well is I hop on the bus to go between building to building on Microsoft campus, and I sit next to an MVP who's in a completely different category, something I don't even think about. Right? They're all I'm a Office apps MVP, and I do a lot of SharePoint plugins, things like that. Can you show your profile on this site? Yes, I can do that. Just search for Groves, and there I am, Matthew D. Groves. My award category is Developer Technologies. Taylor and Code has posted this link here to the MVP Award text structure. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. So when I go in and add activities, MVP profile, I pick one of these. So most of the time I'm in here in Developer Technologies. I pick .NET or ASP.NET, sometimes some JavaScript or other things like that. And then data platform. There's not really anything in here that's not Microsoft specific data tools, so I don't really use this very much. What I'll tend to do is I'll go down to Azure and like Azure Compute. I spend a lot of time there. And every once in a while I'll dip into other categories. But mostly here in Developer Technologies. But anyway, yeah, this is my profile. You can actually go and see all the different activities that I submit to Microsoft. So once you're actually in the MVP program, what they want you to do is go in here and update all your activities. So here's the sessions that I presented at conferences. This is the podcast, the video streams, the various other activities. There's a whole list of different types of activities you can put in there. And then that's part of what they do to review for the next upcoming year. They say, oh, well, let's see if this guy has, is he still active in the community? So we want to keep him, give him another year of the award. I don't think it's just activities. It's other things they use to evaluate. Like it's not just quantitative stuff. They take a look at the person. They say, well, yeah, is he still active in the community? Is he still talking about .NET? Or has he changed jobs and now he does all Java stuff, something like that. So, although I will say Java, right here, you can see I've got 2 that I've submitted for the Java area. So it's not just Microsoft stuff that's in the MVP program, but there's all kinds of technologies in there. Can you update the pic to show the beard? My boss keeps asking me to do that. He says that picture no longer is a good reflection of who you are. You need to get a beard picture. And I think he says that because he has a beard too, and it's much bigger beard than me. But he wants fellow beard growers to represent, I guess. I don't know. That's what I suspect. Should I update this pic to show the beard? I don't think so. This is a professional picture here, professionally taken picture. So I'm going to leave that there for now. I've got some other goodies I want to show you here. Let me just look at this box. Make sure there's nothing left in there. It looks like there's some paperwork in the back here, but I don't think this is terribly interesting or relevant for the stream. This box, by the way, it's like, if you look in there, it's basically like solid cardboard almost. I think they do that because these are made of glass, right? So they want to make sure it doesn't break in transit. I'll just pull the whole thing out. I don't know. It doesn't want to come out. Oh, here's the instructions for how to put the disc on your trophy. Very important to ship those along. Let's see. Notice to receiver. That's not terribly interesting. They'll be able to identify profile pics taken during COVID before it looked like Castaway. Yeah, that's right. And then, of course, here's my code of conduct. So they have a code of conduct for their MVPs. I don't think this is... I'm going to list the whole thing, but I don't think this is under NDA. Well, number 6 is no NDA violations, so that's important to them. But like number 1 is no disrespectful behavior. Let's see, Taylor and Code. Just because you're smart enough to get an MVP does not mean you're smart enough to put your disc on the award. I would take it a step further, Taylor and Code, and say, just speaking for myself personally, I don't think the MVP award is necessarily about being smart. It's not an academic achievement at all. It's more about I'm willing to put myself out there and help the community and contribute the best I can. to community events and helping others learn, especially when it comes to couch or to Microsoft stuff. But I don't think there's lots of really, really smart people, way smarter than me, in Microsoft technologies that don't have an MVP award, or maybe they work for Microsoft now, so they can have an MVP award. So, like, no impersonations, no illegal or offensive activities. I mean, some of that stuff makes sense. But again, if you got to put this in the instructions, you probably got to say things like, hey, don't be disrespectful, don't do anything illegal. So, all right. I think that's it. I want to show you a couple more goodies here. These aren't new, but they're kind of related to the MVP program, so I want to show them to you. And I just happened to pick these up because I was over there at my shelf anyway, getting this trophy, and had some goodies over there from MVP, and a lot of them are just stickers and pins from last year. But a few things that I found, and I have no idea why I have these or when I got them or why they were made, but this is a Microsoft MVP branded little plastic bottle. See, it looks very much like a hand sanitizer bottle, and it's green, so it's completely invisible. But it's actually not for hand sanitizer. So if you look on the back of it, it's got the Sriracha logo on it. So I guess the idea is Microsoft MVPs need to carry around a bottle of Sriracha with them on their keychain wherever they go. It's like a keychain bottle. I don't know. I don't remember. I think maybe Betsy gave this to me some year, and I was very confused by it. I was like, she was really trying to get rid of them. I think it was her. She's like, here, have a Sriracha to go bottle with MVP branding. All right, Betsy, sure, that's cool. I'll take that. The other thing I want to show this off here. This is not official Microsoft merchandise, but this is something that's this is 2020, 2019, 2008. I think this was 2018's MVP Summit, which was the first summit I went to, I believe. Microsoft, well, there's lots of parties there, but Microsoft has an official party, which on Wednesday night, which is the last day, like the majority of people are there in campus. Not everyone leaves, but majority, I think. And so one of the things they did is they have a little customizable trucker hat you could have created, with an airbrush sort of look at the event. And most people just put what do they put on it? I think it chose from like C# or .NET or VB or SharePoint, stuff like that. And I said, hey, can you put nickel on there, N1QL? And they said, sure. So there we go. Now we're trucking. We're trucking through some nickel. What do you think? This is my new look. Bill over the eyes, big old trucker hat. What do you think? I think this is a good look. Y'all. And I got my Sriracha with me, ready to go. Gonna pop the top on that Sriracha, glug it down. You never know when you need some Sriracha. Meme worthy? I don't know about that. But yeah, I don't ever wear this thing. It's a cool little token that I got from being at that party. So, NJ Grove says no, just no. Don't be a hater. Come on, man. Okay. That's enough of the hat. All right, so I'm going to put this stuff over on the shelf, and I'll be right back. Don't want to lose my trucker hat. Okay, this guy right here. Back over there. Okay, and this guy will go over here. So we're going to the recycling bin later. I found some more stuff while I was over there. I got this new pin. I wanted to show you that I have some other pins. So this one, 2015. And so they were pins for a while. So I've got actual 2014, 2015, those are pins, like square. I assume this is 2017 is a pin. I'm missing 2016. That might be on my hat already. And then they changed it eventually to these magnetic things that they're all kind of stuck together. Magnetic pins. So I've got all those. And you can see I've got tons of MVP stickers from previous years as well. Some of them have been used, put on laptops and things. So I got all those. So I've got one more sheet to add to them. And I also saw swells over this. This is actually a badge from my very first MVP Summit 2018. Visual Studio and Development Technologies is my category. You can't really read it, but it's on there. United States. That's the other cool thing, is MVPs come from all over the world. So I get to meet people from like Argentina who are MVPs in SharePoint. I mean, that's an interesting conversation. A little bit. It's a oh, what do you do with SharePoint in Argentina? Oh, you know, this and that, with SharePoint stuff. And then, but it's still cool to meet people from all these different backgrounds and things. Okay. Do some calisthenics here. The trophy's getting heavy. A lot of work. All right. Let's see. What's next on the list? So there we go. MVP Award unboxing. That was fun. I've never done that before on the stream. Usually it's just I sit in my desk and I'm like, okay, here's another sheet. Here's another pin. Oh, great. But I wanted to share that with you all because, I mean, honestly, you all being here and coming to my sessions and reading my stuff and listening to my podcast, all that kind of stuff. That's, I mean, you are the reason I'm getting these awards, because I'm out here talking to people. I'm not just, although it feels sometimes like I'm just talking to a camera, I'm out there actually talking to people and trying to share what I'm excited about and what I'm interested in. And so I appreciate that. So it's an award for all of you just as much as it did for me, honestly. So if you ever come over to my house, I'll let you take a selfie with the trophy. Okay, so let me scale down my giant face here back to normal size. Whoop. Now let's get on with the show. Streaming feels like talking to yourself at times. It does, and fortunately, I've gotten kind of used to it because, this year especially, I'm doing a lot more talking to a camera instead of talking to a conference room. Sometimes talking to a conference room can feel like talking to yourself too. If everyone's down at looking at their phones, yikes. But anyway, why doesn't Google search have a dark theme? Oh, another good question. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it does. I'm going to say Google search / Bing search. I use Bing. Not because I'm an MVP, but I just use Bing. So we're gonna look into that as well. But here's the question that came in. This is from Robin Hollanders. So hello, Robin. Thank you for watching on YouTube. The question that Robin has: hello, do you have VS Code theme on Visual Studio? So this was on a video where I was working with Visual Studio, and Robin just assumed that I have the same theme for Visual Studio as I do for Visual Studio Code. And Robin wanted to know how I did that. So I said, do you mean, how do I put Visual Studio into dark mode? Because that's what I have. It's in dark mode. And Robin says, no, I know how to do that, but my dark mode on Visual Studio doesn't have the same colors as yours. Your syntax highlighting is the same as the default VS Code. So did you make a specific setup? My response was, I don't think so. I think I'm using everything that's totally just default out of the box. But I think it's worthwhile to take a look and check. Honestly, I haven't even examined my theming or anything like that in a long time. So let's bring up that. So this is a project that I use sometimes to help answer forum questions, to just work through whatever code that they've written and paste it in here and run it. And I've got like a logging configuration and stuff like that to try to work through. If they're seeing some problem with Couchbase connectivity or something with the API, I can work through it in Visual Studio here. So I'm going to open the same project in Visual Studio Code. So we're going to go to the forum questions, and I'll open this up with code. And so this way I can have it side by side. So I've got form questions program CS on the right, and I've got form program.cs in Visual Studio on the left. So, I mean, and again, the video I took is the video that Robin commented on is actually like in the 40s, I think, episode 40 or so. So it's been a while, and Visual Studio Code may have made some changes. But as you see here, the syntax highlighting is not exactly the same. So let's just scroll up here. So you can see right away that method names and constructors are in a light blue color. And over here in Visual Studio Code, they're all in the same color here. As, well, yeah, it's like two different colors. So it looks like keywords like new are in the same color on both left and right, but the actual class name or method names are in a different blue color. But if I look at the themes here, let's just see what they are. So appearance, what is it? Where do you edit your themes and stuff in VS Code? Sorry, gosh, my voice is going. Let's see, preferences. I've got color theme. Okay. Oh, turn on zoom it. So we've got preferences and color theme. So up there you can see that I just have dark Visual Studio. So maybe I don't have the actual, maybe I did change this at some point because it's not, dark plus seems to be the default dark. What's your opinion on Codota/tab 9? I don't know what those are. I guess I don't have an opinion. I have to look those up. Let me write this down here. I think I used to use Solarized Dark back in the day. This is supposedly a little easier on the eyes than just like a stark black background. But I don't think even the default themes even use this stark, like the literal black background anymore. So let's just see, default dark. That says default dark. That looks very much like the. Oh, hey, thanks for the follow, Crichton 1000. So this one looks just like the theme on the left. This is the default theme. That's interesting. So dark plus the default dark. It looks pretty much. Oh no, it doesn't look identical. Nope, it's not. Variable names. Look at that. This cluster is a different color. This is like a more of a white over here, and this is like a light blue. And this method name here is yellow. So instance method names are yellow as opposed to white over here. So I don't know. I don't see any sort of overlap here. They look similar, but they're not quite the same. Let me just double check over here in Visual Studio if I've got any sort of let's see, where is the theme? Themed icon, environment color schemes. So here we go. It's just dark. Visual Studio dark. Nothing out of the ordinary. I didn't import any of the themes. I used to do that. I used to have, I think before Visual Studio had dark mode, people had to basically build their own themes and they would upload them to like a marketplace, I think, or just share them on a blog somewhere. And so I used to have a theme. This is like Visual Studio 2008, back in those days. There's a theme that I think Rob Connery either created or copied from some other editor's theme, just copied the colors over. And so I was using his theme for a while. Well, I don't know if it was his, but it was something that he published or popularized or something. But it's been a long, long time. And since Visual Studio's had dark mode, I haven't had to do any of that kind of stuff. Now, some people are like, why do you use dark mode? What's wrong with light mode? And so there's light mode, which I don't think is even the default anymore, but it used to be the default in Visual Studio. But here's what happened. So, and I don't know if any of this is true. So I'm not a ophthalmologist or whatever on this stuff. Light mode equals it burns my eyes. Basically, that's what I'm saying is there was some sort of study, and I don't know if this has been debunked or whatever, It lose Twitch viewers almost immediately. But when looking at a screen for long periods of time, looking at code and text and reading, the idea was that the light backgrounds actually causes like different kinds of eye strain. So I'm going to go ahead and revert this back. And at the time I read this, I was having, I was again putting in like 60-hour weeks, 60 to 80-hour weeks. So that may have something to do with it as well. But I was looking at this screen, and it was just taking its toll on me. Like I got headaches, and my eyes just didn't feel like a headache, but like some sort of eye pain. And then I tried. They said, okay, switch to like a dark background. So I tried like flat black background instead, and that actually seemed to make things worse. It was almost like looking at an old green screen computer. And so I kept reading on this, and apparently they said, okay, not actually a literal like 000 black background, but like almost completely black background, like is what you see here. It may look like black on your screen, but it's actually kind of a softer than black. I'll see if I can actually. Let's see if I brought in paint. Well, let's see. There's like a color picker I'm thinking about. Which of my apps has a color picker in it? Let's see, like an eyedropper tool. Oh, okay. I could take a print screen of this, maybe. Greenshot's not on either. Man, all my utilities are off because I restarted because that power outage. That's what it was. So I may be completely wrong about this, but let's just take a screenshot of that. We'll paste it in here. And if I drop the eyedropper on that, and then what? I can look at this color, and you can see it's not completely black. Look here. See, it's kind of, here, let me bring it over here so I can point. It's kind of, this would be all the way black right here. This is where it is. So it's not a completely dark black. It's somewhat softer, which they say that, again, I don't remember the study or where I read it, but that's better. That's the optimal way to reduce eye strain by changing colors. So, a lot of people are like, dark view is trendy, things like that, but I think there's some actual studies in science, and again, I'm just hand waving because I couldn't quote you where I read this. It's been so long ago. But some people are really adamant about not using dark theme, and I think it's possibly because on certain projectors in certain lighting conditions, the dark screen, dark mode, completely unreadable. Completely impossible to see and make things out on it. So you have to switch then to the light mode on those. But those are the only situations where I've seen that light mode is actually a better view, is when you have those types of projectors or lighting conditions. Most of my viewers are watching at night, so I appreciate why the dark mode is much easier. So I guess at night then, the idea is you don't want to be blasted with light in a dark room. You're sitting in a dark room to begin with. Light mode when presenting in person. So again, it's not always the case, but like certain rooms and certain projectors and conditions, it's just dark mode does not work. What I usually do is I'll show up to a session early, put my code on the screen, put my slides on the screen, and then go to the back of the room and take a look and see, okay, is it legible from back in the back here? And usually you can tell right away if it's a lighting situation, then yeah, this has got to be in light mode. And unfortunately, in Visual Studio, it's really easy to just go and color, to just go and say dark to light. What is blue? Let's take a look at that. Oh, I think this is actually the default one, the old default one anyway. So let's go back to dark here. Why didn't Microsoft make any changes to MS Paint for too many years? Why didn't Microsoft make any changes to MS Paint? What kind of changes do you want to see there, guy from Mars? Um, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, isn't Microsoft Paint now open source? They made Paint 3D. Did Microsoft make Paint 3D? I thought Paint was open source for some reason. Maybe I'm thinking of Calculator. I don't know. Why didn't they make any changes? I mean, they're not really in the art tools business, I guess. Although I will say they did create something called. This is for my WPF XML people. What was it called? Oh shoot! What was that tool? Is it even still around? It was the designer tool for. It was a complement to WPF in Visual Studio. What was that called? Crying out loud. Blend. Yes, it was called Blend. Thank you. I knew. If no one else would get it, Chad would get it. They made something called Blend, which is more of a design tool. So I mean that I don't know if Blend's even still around. It might be. But there's that. Paint 3D is a separate app. Is that from Microsoft though? Paint 3D. I'm bringing it up here. Oh, looks like I already have it installed. Look at that. I've got Paint 3D. I've never used this before. Look at that. I'm painting stuff in 3D. Amazing. And there's Paint.net. Yes, the Paint.net is an open source project. That is, I can't go, gosh, I can't just type it into the address bar because that is an address. Paint.net was a paint program that I believe was actually built with .net. So Paint 3D technically replaces the old Paint app. Wow, I learned something new today. PaintNet, yes. This was created a student project. And so this was kind of a more advanced version of Paint. I never used it that much. Again, I'm not really a artistic kind of guy. When I open up Paint, it's only to like do really simple like pasting screenshots, and I don't even use them for like cropping and stuff anymore. I use something called OrphanView for that. So rarely do I use Paint. But Paint.net is something I believe, let's see, maybe it used to be open source. Maybe it's not anymore. But it's still free, so I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, Paint.net, that would be the replacement you'd want to get if Paint is not doing enough for you. But there's lots of other drawing options out there. I think is why Microsoft is not trying to win the desktop painting tools. The only reason I use Paint is to convert PNG to JPEG or reduce my image size. I use a tool called OrphanView for that. OrphanView. And I believe this is cross-platform, but I use it on Windows. And technically it's an image viewer, but it can also do things like cropping and resizing, converting, slideshows, zooming, and filters and blurring, all those kinds of stuff. It's a little bit here. I'll just show it in action for if we really need to see it. So let's say I want to make a screenshot of this. So first of all, I've got a tool called GreenShot to capture screenshots. I'm going to open up OrphanView and paste that in there. So I've got this code. I want to make it into a screenshot, but maybe there's something sensitive, like this is like a password in here or something. So I can just go option, or is it images, effects, and then I can go to this effects browser and I can like pixelize it, for instance. And just do that. So simple edits like that. I use OrphanView all the time. I've been using this for ever, I feel like. Ever since I first heard of it, it's got to be 10 plus years, 12 years, maybe more than that. But I use that all the time for images when I need to. But yeah, GreenShot, OrphanView, and occasionally Paint. And that's about the extent of my image work. Unless you want to count Camtasia, which is a little bit of there as well. All right, so the other thing I wanted to look at, since we're looking at themes, is I've been using Windows Terminal a lot these days, a lot more these days. And I know they're going to change this to make this a little better, but to change settings in Windows Terminal, you got to modify this settings file. So I'm wondering, so there's color schemes to this array. So I'm wondering if there's a better color scheme out there, or something like maybe a transparent background, something like that. So let's do a quick search here. Windows Terminal color schemes. See what we come up with here. Here's the docs page. Creating your own color scheme. All right, so here you can just copy this. I can just copy this JSON. What's the shortcut to Zoom Terminal? Zoom Terminal? Oh, what I was doing here with this, I was just doing Control and mouse wheel, but I think Control minus, Control plus does the same thing. Ooh. Yep, love me some terminal. So I could just copy this JSON in there, and this would be a new theme, I guess. There's some included color schemes. All right, so these are in the default JSON file, which we access by holding Alt and selecting the Settings button. Okay, so I can say Alt Settings. Here it is, auto-generated. They don't work on my command shell. Do they work only in PowerShell? Oh, I don't know. Good question. Let's open up a command window. Nope, seems to be working here. Control mouse wheel. Control plus, Control minus. That seems to work just fine. Which version do you have? Because I'm on 1.1.2021. Seems to work just fine. All right, those in defaults. So this is the defaults config file for Windows Terminal. And so I can see. Set up a color scheme in some of your command line profiles. Add the color scheme property. Okay. Oh, so here's some of them, like Campbell PowerShell, Vintage, 1/2 dark, 1/2 light, Tango dark, Tango light. You know, I think the transparency is something that's a upcoming feature. I don't think that's actually available yet. But if this is a color scheme, could I just go ahead and select that? Right there in the settings. Let's see. So let's just try Vintage. If I just say Vintage, oh, whoops, I lost my windows there. So I just say Vintage. Will that do it? I suspect not. But let's try it. I'll close this down. Windows Terminal. Doesn't look like it. Is there a way to download Windows Store apps without signing into Microsoft? I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't know if I've ever tried it. This is a tool called WinGet, but I think you have to sign into Microsoft to use this. The other thing you can do, it's not Windows Store apps, but you can use something like Choco, which is Chocolate Nougat, which is not a Microsoft. This is a community project. It's kind of like apt-get, but I don't think this will install Windows Store apps for you. I mean, it's kind of like asking, how do I install an iTunes app without logging into iTunes? Or whatever Apple's calling it these days. This doesn't make any sense. It's definitely a walled garden type of deal. Gilded cage, if you will. Well, so that didn't seem to work, changing my theme. Profiles. Yeah, so. Oh, maybe I did. Maybe I just didn't. Okay. Needs to be capital V for Vintage. Okay, let's try that. Capital V. Okay, Windows Terminal. I'm not seeing anything different here. Wait, although, I mean, it is just text on black background. How can I show this? How can I show colors here? I don't know. All right, well, I'm going to remove that. I'm pretty happy with the default scheme on Windows Terminal as it is. Well, Apple is very strict, but Windows is very flexible. Okay, I think that's probably true. Honestly, I don't I can't remember the last time I used a Windows Store app, unless that Paint 3D I just ran counts. The only Windows Store app that I've had to get into is to install WinGet, which I did on a recent stream. But I don't spend a lot of time in the Windows Store or the Microsoft Store, or whatever. Isn't MS Terminal Windows Store app? I don't think so. Windows Terminal is I think I got it off GitHub. It might be in the Microsoft Store, but Windows Terminal. Oh, you know what? It is in the Microsoft Store. There it is. But that's not where I got it from. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I got it from GitHub, if I'm not mistaken. If you go to releases, yeah. I didn't, it sort of auto updates. So I downloaded it a long time ago, one of these releases, and it's just been auto updating, like really silently auto updating, kind of almost disquieting. It just updates whenever it feels like. But yeah, this is how I got it before. I would just download one of these assets, and away we go. MSIX bundle. Yeah, I don't know last time I was in here for something. I mean, it had to be probably back in the Windows 8 days when I had a little Yoga laptop that flipped over and used a lot of touchscreen stuff on. This is more touchscreen friendly, I think, than trying to download something from a GitHub release. But yeah, I don't remember the last time I touched the Microsoft Store. Okay, so I think theming, we've got that done. Oh, we didn't look at Google or Bing theming. Let's take a look at that. So can I change settings here? Let's see. Language, country, location. Let's see. Hopefully nothing sensitive in here. Personalization settings. Let me turn this off here. Make sure. That requires a sign-in, so I don't think that's probably it. Homepage. No, I don't see any sort of color options here for Bing. Although, Bing isn't sort of the pasty white page that's Google. Here's a question for you, though. How many people actually go to Bing or Google.com anymore? Because what I do is I just type in my search term here in the address bar. And it takes me to the default search engine. I don't actually go to the Google homepage or the Bing homepage. Hardly ever. Yeah, TBD Gamer is on the same page, so I don't ever do that. This is the reason why I use Bing, though, right here. See these points up there, these Bing bucks? You can cash these puppies in for some free gift cards. All I gotta do is just, do Bing searches, and I get Bing points, get Bing bucks. You have 40,000 Bing bucks? Are you serious, TBD Gamer? Do you know how much Amazon money that can give you? Probably like $50. Now see, in Windows, some software comes with 2 versions, installer and portable. Why would someone want an installer when portable is very convenient? You don't even have to go through boring installation process. Well, Guy from Mars, not everyone is as confident as you when installing software. So the portable option is more for power users who are totally comfortable just copying a folder somewhere and going and just putting it wherever they want to. I think most users who are not power users, who are just everyday users, are much more comfortable with an installer going through a wizard and making sure that they know what's going on and that it's installed and it's easy to uninstall and all those sorts of things. Yeah, another good reason. Yeah, if I put the portable somewhere, I just forget about it. It's like, well, did I download that or not? I'm gonna have to do a search and have to figure out where I put it. So there are some things that I prefer portable for, and this is maybe a weird thing that I do. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but I have this path folder that I've created. I have little command line utilities. So every time I get an interesting new command line utility, it's just a single file. I drop it in here. So for instance, ngrok, this is one that I just installed recently. It's just a single exe file. There's no installer. Just drop it in here, and then I have this folder in the path. So everything in here is just automatically in the path. I don't have to think about, let's update the path for it, things like that. I just drop it in. Tailoring code has 91K. Man, you guys gotta either give me those points. I'll put them to use. I'll get some Amazon money out of those. That is great. Let's see. Interesting fact. Portable FileZilla, when it wants to update, downloads the installer. FileZilla. I think I really need to update FileZilla. I barely ever use this, but I'm very out of date with this, I think. 3.42. New version available. Yeah, well, I'm not that out of date, I guess. But yeah, I'm a bit out of date. I hardly ever use it. I may as well install it right now. Now that I'm thinking about it. There we go. There. Updated FileZilla. Cool. Okay. So, oh, and Google. I can look at Google. See if there's anything like a dark theme there. Let's see. Go to... I don't see any sort of settings here at all. Google dark theme? Search? I don't know. I'm going to Bing about Google dark theme. Okay, so there's an extension for it. You can get dark theme for Google if you really, really care about it. It's not by Google, so I'm always nervous about this when it's offered by somebody I never heard of, and it's for Google. Chrome extensions make me nervous. Whenever I see stuff like this, I'm like, wow, this could be just reading everything that I'm doing. How much time do you spend reading the terms and conditions on software installation? How much time do I spend reading terms and conditions? Almost none. Almost none times. I occasionally, when I go look at a GitHub repo, let's say github.com/winget, for instance. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Microsoft Winget. Not Jeff Winget. Holy cow, where is Winget? Winget CLI. All right. Here's what I will do. I will click on the license from time to time, and I'll say, okay, MIT license, or I'll say Apache license, and I'll be like, okay, it's probably good. I'm sure it's fine. I won't actually read through the whole license, or anything like that. But if it's GPL, for instance, I'd be like, whoa, hold on. Do we really need to use this one, or can we check out a different one? Again, depending on what I'm building. So I'll look at license, like which license it is from time to time. It is because in the past, stuff I've worked on, it's been very important what licenses we use and which ones we don't use. So GPL is one that is an open source license, but somewhat restrictive in what you can actually do with software you build that uses GPL libraries. So that's what I'll do. But when it comes to like, oh, I'm installing this new game or this new piece of software, I'm not going to read the terms and conditions because I don't really understand them, and it takes a long time to read them. And what am I going to do? If it's some terms I don't like, I'm just not going to use that software and find something different. Well, if it's something like Visual Studio Code or Chrome or whatever else, I'm going to use it. All right, so dark mode, Bing, and Google, there really isn't one. I remember there being some kerfuffle about Google's homepage. Like someone tried to say, well, because their page is all white, uses more electricity than if it was all black. And somehow this added up to billions of dollars of energy. But I think that was actually debunked. That's not how modern monitors work. So it doesn't matter what color it is, using the same amount of energy. I once encountered a software installation where it didn't allow me to proceed next screen without scrolling to the end. That too, if I did it real quick, it would punish me, saying, how could you read it in 1 second? It also had slow scroll bar. Yeah, I mean, I've seen this before as well. It's pretty uncommon, but every once in a while, it's like we want to at least have a plausible situation that we can say people who have agreed to this have actually taken some time to sit through a timer or to scroll so that we can say, plausibly speaking, that hey, we made every effort we could to make sure they read the terms and conditions. Yeah, every once in a while I see that on a website too. You'll see that sometimes. Yep. Don't tangle with that stuff. That's what I'm saying. I do not do it. All right, forum question. Let's get into this. Let's get some actual coding done today. What do you say? This is a question that came in earlier, and hopefully no one's jumped in. And well, hopefully they have, but no one has jumped in to follow up on this. So someone had a question in the Couchbase forums for .NET that they are enabling threshold logging tracer. And they're getting the logs, but they're not getting the logs they're expecting. They're not seeing these properties showing up in the logs. So what I did was I tried to reproduce this. And so I did, and you can see here my effort at reproducing it. And that when I got the logs, I did get those things. Last local address, last remote address, server US, or wherever server us is. So I wasn't able to replicate. So that's what I told this person. I can't replicate this problem. Is there something else you can tell me, other details you can provide? And so the next thing this person has said is that they're not using nlog. They're using log4net. So the question is that the reason they're not seeing certain parts of the log? I doubt it. I'm not really sure. I mean, if that is the problem, we're going to find out here. But I doubt that's the problem. I don't really know what the problem would be. So I don't know. Is there a Discord Slack for Couchbase? There is not a Discord Slack for Couchbase, at least not yet. There is a Gitter for Couchbase. So if you go to Gitter/Couchbase/discuss, and there's a few others. There's like a link to Couchbase and Couchbase ASP.NET, but that's the main one there, the discuss on Gitter. We have an internal Slack at Couchbase. We all use Slack for intra-company communications. Something I've brought up before, like should we have a public Slack for Couchbase? And what would that look like? And how would that work? And would anyone actually go to it? So, I mean, what would you think? What would be the main benefit of having a Slack for Couchbase as opposed to a forum? Not that you can't have both, but what would be the benefit for you of being able to go to a Couchbase Slack? I mean, why would you want to do that? So while you're thinking about that, I'm going to look at his code. He says he's using log4net. So I need to bring in log4net instead of what I'm using here is nlog. So that's going to be interesting. Let's see what we got here. Log4net. Okay, so if I just add this, is that going to be all I need to do? Just add the log4net library? Okay, and then if I look back over at his code, he's got this stuff here, log manager, blah, blah, blah. I don't necessarily need to do that. Couchbase. No, I want log4net log manager and get logger. Why is this getting a type of startup? No, I'm not using, he's using ASP.NET. I'm just using a console application. Which I don't see why that would make a difference either. But what is this get logger type of startup? Is it going to scan the assembly for a, I'm going to have to look into that. Let's see. All right, another question. What's your biggest open source work where you handle the majority of maintenance and works? Like my biggest open source work? I don't know if I have one, really. I haven't really built anything significant enough to get a lot of people to contribute to it. So if I had to pick one, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there is one that I do the majority of maintenance and work. I mean, it's either something I'm contributing to or it's something that I'm doing myself. That's pretty much where I'm at right now with open source. Um, yeah, I'm more of a contributor side, I guess, than a manager and head, lead or anything. Log for net. I want to see how this works in log for net. Let's see. Can I go? Is there a log for net website or documentation or something? Not loft for net. Apache log for net. Example apps. Config example. Oracle. SQLite. Colored console appender. What is that? But where did all these config files go? That's what I want to know. Building an example. Let's see. Repository. How-tos. I don't know. SDK reference. That's not super helpful. Introduction. What about you, Guy from Mars? Do you work on any open source projects where you're doing a lot of the work? Anything you'd like to plug or promote about that project? Log manager takes a type parameter. So here's the thing: is like this doesn't even build. This builds an iLog. Type of. What I want is a logger factory, though. That's not going to work here, is it? No. How do I get a logger factory from log4net? Fornet logger factory. This is an ASP.NET. Get logger. I have not made any open source work yet. I've published some of my previous works for free. I might release some good APIs on GitHub in the future. Some good APIs for what? What kind of stuff are you working on? Logger factory. TypeScript with React. Okay. But when I hear API, it's like I'm going to make a call to your API and it's going to do something. What is that something going to be? So what is this? This with nlog, it was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's probably just an extension for it. I don't know what I'm thinking here. Logger factory. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not thinking straight here. Hang on. So this is not what it wants. A log4net extension. I think this is what it wants. And then I can say logger factory.add log4. Oh, There it is, add log for net. And then I can provide a config file, which would be log for net.config, that sort of thing. Okay, and then I create myself a log for net file here, which I will call log for net config. Okay, and then log for net configs, I need to figure out like a good config for that. Log for net config, I don't know, text file. This one is not API, it'll be package where it makes the programmer very easier to integrate AWS services on their React/RN work with TypeScript along with IntelliSense. Oh, okay. Sounds pretty cool. Let's see. This looks like a log for net file that writes to a text file. So I'm going to try that. Put that in here like that. I don't know if this is going to work. Worth a shot though. I'll call mine log. Well, I called the other one. What did I call it? I called it console example internal and console example log. So I'm going to call this console example log for net.log. Matthew hates YAML. I do hate YAML. I'm not a big fan of XML either. To be honest. Error log file, info log file. I don't want them all to go to the same file. I don't really need them to go in separate files. Can I do that? Is that going to be a problem? Guess we'll find out. Do you also hate JSON? I do not hate JSON. I like JSON very much. XML is bad. At least XML doesn't worry about white space. Yes, I will say that. I will rank XML slightly above YAML. If I had to rank them. My problem with XML is that it's so darn verbose. Like, look at this. And parsing it is a pain in the neck. I mean, again, lots of XML parsers, but it is still a pain to parse it out. Let's see. But that is the only saving quality. Yeah, what doesn't it like about this? Do not expect /XML. Oh, do I not? I don't need that at the end, do I? That's not how XML works. Do I have that over here too? And log seems to be okay with it. That's weird. Okay. Let's try this again. Well, it's not doing anything. What's the name of the file? Console example log for net.log. Well, there it is. Nothing there. Empty log file. Why aren't you writing to a log? Probably because I don't know what I'm doing with log for net. That's probably the main problem there. Log for net config text file. I just want a really simple config to throw it into text. That's all I want. I made the mistake of copying code from the Stack Overflow question instead of looking for an answer with the correct config. I'm not seeing one. Give you an upvote anyway. Let's see. Apache log for net manual configuration. Just want some like really simple examples. TSON? TSON? Is that another markup? I've never heard of TSON before. Extension of JSON that supports what? Functions and references to static objects. TypeScript object notation. I see. Okay, sure, but I don't know if that's really going to add much to what I use JSON for, or configuration, right? Where I don't necessarily want functions and objects in my, well, references to objects in my markup. So I'm sure there's a good reason for it, but looks like this. If this is the project, then it hasn't been updated in a long time. I don't know if anyone's using this. Okay. Log for net. All right. Here's a sample configuration file that results in exactly the same output as previous basic configurator-based examples. I just want one that's going to write to a file. That's all I want. Something like this. So I don't need the console. I don't really care about that. I just want the file. Why does Microsoft IE always suck? Are you still using Microsoft IE? I think that has gone. That has been deprecated for a while. I think I still have it. There it is. And here's the thing: it hasn't always sucked. Like this for a long period of time. Like this was a very, very good browser. It's just like IE6 days. It just never got updated. So it was that, it had that window, and then IE6 just got out more and more worse and worse as other browsers improved. And then by the time IE7 came out with tab browsing and things like that, it was just kind of like, eh. But I don't remember the last time I used IE. You can see I don't lose anything in my history. Oh, there is a few things in my history. Let me see. I don't know if this pulls history from somewhere else or what.
And in conclusion, we have found MySQL to be...
Wow, okay. I haven't used IE in a long time. These days it's Edge though. Microsoft Edge is the one that ships with Windows now. This is based on Chromium or whatever, and there you go. You can add an option to redeem Buckazoids to make you use IE. Just a suggestion. I'm going to put that in my backlog. Let's see. That's a good suggestion. I like it. I'll take out the lull though. But yes, I use IE. I got to use that instead of Chrome or Brave or whatever I'm using. All right, let's see. Pattern layout. I don't care about that. Root. Whatever. Okay. I don't need the console. It says debug though. Maybe I want all in there. Let's just see what happens. Okay. So far, so good. Oh, I'm seeing lots of stuff going there now. Look at all that log information. There it is. Okay. There I got log for networking. And it's just working like crazy now. Okay, so now the question was about specifically looking inside of threshold logging. So we're looking for operations that exceeded service threshold. So there's one. Looks like that's the only one in there. So I'm going to take the JSON inside of this. I'm going to run it through a tool. And why not? Let's do an Internet Explorer. just in honor of Guy from Mars' suggestion. Bring up JSON lint, Internet Explorer, paste some JSON in there, and validate it. And I'm still seeing it. I'm still seeing those fields that he's not seeing for some reason, or she. I don't know who Wahid Kazi is. But he's looking for last local address, last remote address, and I see those in here. Oh, not here. Internet Explorer. Last local address. Yeah, they're all there. So I have to report back that that doesn't seem to be the problem. I just tried it again using log4net instead. And again, I still see ooh. Oh, got a sneeze there. Sorry. I still see those fields. Here's the code for reference. Thank you, TBD Gamer. It's always nice to post a big code snippet for other people who are maybe reading along or coming to this thread in the future with a similar problem. Here's the code for reference. And I'll put that in code. So I don't think it's a matter of log4net versus nlog. Is there anything else? Let's see, what else can I suggest? You know what, I'll also post and here's my log4net config. Just in case, maybe there's something in the config. Why is Apple trying to make iPad work like a desktop computer? I think because they think people will buy more iPads if they work like a desktop computer. Or will be more likely to buy an iPad if it works like a desktop computer. Why does any company do anything? They want to make more money, want to make better sales. And for a lot of people, again, casual users, not power users, but casual users, an iPad is already pretty close to being, it's 99% of the way there, doing everything that you can do with a, that you want to use a desktop computer for. Again, if you're a casual user. Like my wife, for instance. My wife, she used to have a laptop. She would use it for lots of things. And it's just, I think it broke or something went wrong with it one day, and she just kind of stopped using it, and she's just done more and more stuff with her phone. I mean, almost everything she needs to do, she can do with her phone. With the exception of some of the, you should connect a printer to print something out, or like use her Cricut, print something out on her Cricut. So if the idea with an iPad becoming, I don't know anything about what you're talking about, by the way. I don't follow WWDC or Apple stuff. But if they're trying to make it so that you can connect your iPad more easily to a printer or peripherals or a mouse, for instance, then I could see why people would want that. That makes sense to me. I really don't know what you mean by them trying to make iPad work like a desktop computer. What that specifically means. Here's my log4net config. So I don't think it's a matter of log4net versus nlog. Is it possible there's something in your log4net config that might be messing with those fields? Or is it just maybe you can... What happened to fax? Is it still being used? This is the extent of fax for me. Whenever someone needs a fax, this is where I go. And every once in a while, someone's like, oh, would you please fill out this form, sign it, and email it to me, or you can fax it to me. And again, most people probably don't think about this, but email is a very insecure way to send data. So oftentimes if I want to email them, I'll put it into a zip file and put a password on the zip and just say, well, if you text me, I will give you the password. So that way I'm not sending the password and the data the same channel. Or other time, if I don't think they're going to be able to do that, like if they're going to be confused about zip with a password on it, then I'll be like, okay, I'll just send it to you via fax. If you must have it via fax, you don't have a web form somewhere, I'll just send it via fax. Because I think, and I could be completely wrong about this, I think fax is going to be more secure way to send data than an email. And I could be completely wrong about that. I could be just fooling myself. But that's pretty rare. I have to send fax. I never have to receive faxes anymore. Although there are some services where you can receive faxes without a fax machine. Maybe another thing to try. Create a simple console app. Simple minimum that reproduces the issue. If there's a bug, then this would be helpful in identifying that. So I don't think it's a matter of log4net versus nlog. Is it possible there's something in your log4net config that might be messing with those fields? I doubt it, but I have to ask. Another thing to try is to maybe create a simple minimum console app that reproduces the issue. If there's a bug, then this would be helpful in identifying that. Because I don't think anything else he's shown me has indicated why we leave these off. So I'm just going to throw up as a reply. There we go. Okay. Forum question done. And I learned something new about, that's not it, about log4net and setting it up. It's very easy, turns out. Just have to get the config file correct, which is XML, which is not easy, but I just copied and pasted something and modified it a little bit. So that's good to have. Good to have both options there in my little form answering code snippet thing, which, by the way, I think I deleted my nlog snippet. I'm going to leave nlog in as my default tool, unless I really want to use log4net for some reason. They're both perfectly cromulent logging libraries, by the way. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but nlog was there first, so I'm going to stick with that for now. I hate reading through logs. I really do. What was the most challenging project you ever worked on? Gosh, most challenging project you ever worked on. Well, I've worked on one that was super challenging for bad reasons. And I've worked on one that was super challenging because it was a really challenging, I don't want to say problem, but like really complex system, I guess. And the challenge there was always not letting that complexity get out of hand. My hope is always the next one. You always want more challenging projects, huh? If you asked me this question in a job interview like 10 years ago, I'd probably give you a whole different answer because some things I did that were challenging that didn't need to be as challenging as they were. But I worked on a project as a consultant for let's just say a government agency, and the organization there was absolutely just broken, just completely terrible, and technical decisions really questionable, odd, unnecessary technical decisions were made that made our jobs as consultants very, very difficult to do, and just trying to bring these issues up and say, hey, this is going to cause problems because XYZ, and they're not hearing it, so we have to work around all these other problems. That was a pain. I like to feel the next one should be more challenging so I can grow as a dev. TBD Gamer has the optimistic I you know I still have a lot more I can do in my career point of view. I think I'm probably on the downswing of that TBD gamer. I feel like uh, I wish things would get easier. I'm so tired. I'm getting so old and tired. The other project I worked on, and I don't think I'm bad mouthing him to say this. I still want to learn too, TBD gamer, but I am getting old as well. But I feel like I'm in a position right now where I'm always learning new stuff all the time. But the hardest problems for me to solve right now are not really technical. I don't know if they're even really solvable in the logical sense of the term solvable. But the most challenging project I work on came a couple jobs later. After that consulting job was my last job, my last employer, and I don't think I'll get in trouble for saying this because it was a really good team and really good software. It was a very complex problem domain, highly configurable, and that was very challenging to do because every time we added new features, we had to think about the system as a whole and ways that we could work within the architecture and within the systems we've designed, so that we wouldn't have to just rebuild the wheel every time, but we could create something that would be valuable to the customer who wants it now, but also to potential customers, next year or 6 months from now. And we had to do it within constraints of time and funding and things like that. So very, very challenging. But that was, that's challenging in a good way. All right, so we got 15 minutes till. I'm not going to get to backing up database. I'll just say quickly what I've got running right now for my Twitch bot is I've got an Azure Web Service, which talks to an Azure VM Couchbase database. That's my diagram right there. And what I'm thinking about is, okay, there's a command line utility, a Couchbase command line tool called CB Backup Manager, it's a tool designed to create backups from Couchbase data sets and save them to disk. So that can save backups to disk. But then, if I just save them to the VM's disk, that's not really much of a backup, right? We're assuming that this VM is going to blow up or something. So now I want to be able to, copy those backups to like blob storage, for instance, Azure Blob Storage, which is cheap and ideal for backups. And so there's something I think called AZ Copy or something like that allows you to copy files from a file system into blob storage, and then something to clean up backups. What's an MSIX bundle? MSIX MSI is like an installer tool, right? And I think MSIX is kind of like the next version of that. Just like a setup installation package. But like MSI was the old name for it, right? It's like a Windows installation package, and then I think the X there, I think it's just because it's a zip file, probably, which doesn't make sense. But if you look at like a Word file these days, it used to be called doc, now it's called docx, because it's actually this zip file full of like XML, I think, and other types of other assets that are all bundled into a zip file that make up a Word file or an Excel file. So I think MSIX is a similar thing. It's the next evolution of MSI, which is a Windows installation setup program. They used to be all exe files, if you remember, like setup exe, but the Windows specific setup packages were MSIs, and now MSIX, I believe. Could be completely wrong there. So what I'm thinking here is clean up, delete the backup files, and then send some sort of notification. Maybe email or a text. I'd be wrong, but I read somewhere that the X part was because it's a plus on its side. Huh. It's as good as reason as any. Should I upgrade my WSL2? I'm gonna leave that to you, guy from Mars. If it was me, I would do it in a second because I don't think I have the Windows update yet. I still don't have the. I could be wrong. What was the tool? What was the command again? Winver, something like that. Yeah, I'm still 1909. I don't know why I don't have the newest release yet. I would do it. Yes, but I don't know. I don't know if WSL2 is going to cause problems for you or not. So this is the process I'm thinking of, and so this is going to be a bash script, like I don't know, bash script, which I can install on the Azure VM Couchbase machine, which will then do these things. Run CB Backup Manager, which will save backups to a folder. Copy backup folder to Azure Blog Storage, I think using a tool like AZ Copy, so I need to install AZ Copy somehow. Clean up and delete the backup, and then send a notification. Which that might be the trickiest part, honestly, is how do I send an email from just like a random Windows, well, it's not Windows, it's an Ubuntu machine. It's not a Windows, or it's not an email server, it's just a Ubuntu machine. So I don't know, I'll have to think about that. But that's my thought process. I was going to try to go through that process. Maybe I'll do it in the next stream, but that's what I'm thinking. But I also want to just make sure, like, is there other option that's easier than this? Is there a built-in option? Is that going to be good enough? Some way I can write this as an Azure function instead of having a bash script deployed on a folder. I don't think so, because I need to run the CB Backup Manager. Backup blob storage, I think yes, and I think I'd rather just back up the data than the whole VM. And this will make it easier for me to test the backups as well, because I can just try the backups on my local machine, see if they restore and if they restore correctly and the whole thing. So, yeah, that's the other thing. I just want to test the backup to make sure it works. That's an important step. They always say, like, if you haven't tested your backups, then you don't have a backup. So, I don't know much about ops, but I'm going to make sure I can do that. All right, so it's about 4 o'clock. It's time to find someone else to raid. Any suggestions, throw them right there in the chat, and I will take a look. Looks like C# Fritz is still going, but Lana Lux has beat him out. Lana Lux is always up there on top, because she's always streaming. I haven't been to InstaFluff in a while, you know? I have not raided InstaFluff in a while. I think it's probably time to raid some InstaFluff. One Kev Griff is streaming. Oh, okay. One Kev Griff it is. We're going to go raid one Kev Griff. If you are a subscriber, you can copy those emotes there. Why isn't it showing me as a subscriber? No, what's wrong, guy from Mars? You don't like one Kev Griff? Really go InstaFluff? That's totally fine. Anyway, you can copy that over there. I don't know why those emotes aren't working. Do I need to resubscribe to myself or something? Weird. But you can also paste in emotes of your choosing, raid emotes or whatever. So anyway, I'll see you over there, and hope you all have a good day. I'll be back on Tuesday, I think, at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And I'd love to hang out with you again then, and we'll do some backups. It should be fun. All right, everybody, have a good day.